Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3 4. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, welcome to our weekly wrap up. For those that don't know, former Air Force officer, been an active trader since the 70s, former member of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, uh, author of 3 books, and worked with students since 1996. Here's risk involved in trading. We experienced a little bit of that today as I tried to go short the market and ended up hedging the position. Then I flipped around and went long NVIDIA, which is looking pretty good right now. So we'll see how all that works out. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Now, subscribe to my YouTube channel.com at TBuzzTNT. Do we have anybody? Well, I guess they can't type in there, but if you're from YouTube, thank you for coming. We're growing over there, and that's good. And as Jaffa says, hit the bell, and that way you'll be notified if you're invited to any live presentations. Okay, so I think that's good. You're able to come in live from time to time. And we got great training tapes in there, adding to them all the time as the market dictates, and some pretty good stuff. Jaffa always says, remind people, click the thumbs up if you like the live stream when we go live like this. Let the world know that pretty good operation we got, and just spreads the word. Now we have customer service live each and every week from 10 to 1. You go to www.dtitrader.com/help, and we get a lot of positive feedback from people. In my opinion, I think the most fun trade I made this week was yesterday's live event. Who attended yesterday's live event? You know, that option eventually went to about $1.88. That was a heck of a trade. That was on the QQQ. Timothy says, likes the dollars from the live. Let's look at the market over the last 30 days. I'd call it a roller coaster. By the way, I pretty well made a decision way before that drop there to stand aside in August. And the only actual cash stock I own is Berkshire right now. I'm just on the sidelines. I'll get back in after Labor Day and put it out there. But it made a new high at 57.21 in July and then corrected 10% over the next 20 trading sessions. That's quite a drop, 600 points in that short period of time. I think it shows you the power of a market that is run by algorithms. You see more and more of that, and that's a dangerous situation when they really get going and cranking. It was kicked off, I think, by Tokyo having a real big down day last Sunday night, and down we went, 51.20 on that Monday. We did pretty good. Go back, Jonathan. We did pretty good. If you remember, we had a pocket put. I was getting $800,000 reports from people that we hit big on that. Okay. Now it's rallied back 9% without any kind of retracement since the rally off the low started. And typically, when it runs into this blob that you're seeing over here to the left, you get a market that will either roll over and go down or stay sideways for a few days and then break out the top. That answer will get apparent next week, okay? After Tuesday. If you look at the 57.21 year high down to 51.20, the monthly high has been 5,600. The monthly open's 55.74. My pivot number today has been a great pivot number, I think, 55.75. That's the importance of the pivot number. We opened the week at 53.64, another big up week with a low of the month, 51.20. That sort of well defines this whole month right there. And so 600 points is an unusual amount of pressure to the downside. Think about that, 600 S&P points. That'll have you holding on to your knees. Now gold, you remember at first of the year I told you I thought gold would get to 2,700 this year? Well, we're 25.44 as I speak, or 42 with the 44 high. And it's an example of that 45 number I told you was always a resistance number, no matter what market you're talking about. Went up to 44 and stopped. We'll see if it breaks through. There's usually a pause point when you see that kind of stuff. But gold has been terrific. In fact, I was telling Jonathan, I had in my futures account, I had a gold spread on that you put up about, it's 2,000 per 10. So I had 30 of them, of those spreads, and had about 6,000 in, and hit about, I think, paid me right at 2,000, 33% on the spread. That's one of the things that I'm going to teach. You know, as we get into more futures training. Had a futures class this week. How many people enjoyed the futures class? I did, Jonathan, we did that on Wednesday, right? The futures class?
Yes, we did. It was a great first class.
Yeah, I think people really got to see the power of learning about futures. Who was there? You got any comments to make on the futures training we did? I thought it was nice from the standpoint, I think people got their eyes open to the power of futures. I use it every day in my pivot numbers and lay out, you know, what direction to be. Okay. Way to go, Don. You're doing good on your physical gold you bought. Now, the question I asked, and it's sort of one that I remember back to 2011. At that time, gold in August made a high that stayed the high up to, I think we broke it last year, first time we broke it from 2011. It was a big high we made in August and never saw that high again for a while. So if we get to 2,700, I'm going to tighten up the hatches around my goal once we hit my target there. That's my plan. 2,700. We're $150 away. But the question I asked here on a Friday, why is gold going up and the market's got buyers? Has anybody heard any news on the Middle East? Anybody heard any news over there on the Middle East? I was told today by an informed source that I talked to, he said if they do anything, it'll probably happen tomorrow. Okay. which is Saturday. That's because it concerns me when I see gold make this kind of rally with the market, doing what it's doing. It's sort of a interesting day to me when I see that kind of stuff. Now, the next big expected news event is next week's meeting by the Federal Reserve people out in Jackson Hole. Usually he'll give a speech out there and create some opportunity for us next week. Jonathan, I think you checked this, but I think it's usually on Fridays, okay? I think from the earnings standpoint, the next big stock is NVIDIA, okay? NVIDIA. That's earnings wise. Now, this is one rule that the way I want to make sure everybody understands it is that any option play I put on and recommend, look for the door if not making money after 72 hours, unless we notify you via email, cell phone, or whatever that we're doing something changing that particular trade. Okay. So does everybody understand it? I want everybody to understand it because I spend a lot of time trying to help people, but after 72 hours, most of my trades should be paying you. Okay. Does everybody understand? Say I've got it and I understand this rule that I have for option trading. Because I don't want to hear, 10 days in a option with 2 days go, hey, what I do with this. You got to take it at 72 hours. You got to help me and say, hey, Tom, I got a question. I do enough live events. You ought to be able to ask me that question. And if you ask me, I'll say, oh yeah, that trade, no problem. Okay. Great. Good option rule. Now, importance of pivot number. I give one every morning in T-Buzz TV or in one of the private rooms. Today's pivot was 55.75. I said it should be a defining day. Well, S&P climbed up to 55.75, and you can see early morning it was above it, and it came down, stayed below it, went all the way to 55.36. Reference bar 3 was bullish. We went higher, it corrected. Genesis was bullish, went higher, and now we finished RB4. I hadn't checked RB4, about in the middle of RB4 right now. Yep. Yeah, Susan, just keep that rule in your mind at 72 hours. Ask if you don't get any email or notification of a trade because we have a lot going on. I don't want you sitting there with a trade past 72 hours. In general, worst case, you get out and exit. Yeah, and in fact, did you see the notice on the 25-cent trade we got out there? Rob, we have a 10-cent gold option play that I said exit that trade by the close, but try to get out at 11 cents because gold is surging. We might get a run here in the last 45 minutes, but that trade to come off the books at that price, either 11 cents or 9 cents or 10 cents. Okay. That's a great example of the gold trade that's working right now. We're on 72 hours. You'd think that added on. Now, I've talked a lot about futures and how serious I am about teaching it. I think people this week in class number 1 couldn't believe they learned what they did. And I would tell you, it's not too late to join me. We'll have the next class on Wednesday. If you do join, make sure that Jonathan sends you the recording from this week to get you up to speed where we can do part 2 of that class on next Wednesday. Okay. Anybody here not in that futures class? It's a heck of a deal because of the way I've got it set up. My plan is to teach it between now and October, leading up to our in-person futures class. Classes will be on Wednesday at 10, and I will change that after we get past this month. Try to show you other ways to look at it, okay? Here's the way it works. If you want to come in person in October, it's $5,000 in person. However, here's the great deal. You could put $1,000 down, take the training through October 1, and if it's not for you or not timely, we'll return your money as long as you let me know by October 1st. Okay? So contact one of our representatives right there. And the first futures class, Jonathan, have to answer that, Rob. I can't answer it. Where's the first recording for people that are in it, Jonathan?
They can email me. Yeah, they can email me, Road DTI Trader. I'll send it to them.
Yeah, as long as you're in the futures and been put up your 1,000, you'll get it. And Jonathan will send it to you. Yeah, we tape everything, Pete, so you wouldn't miss anything. I mean, I think it's worth a lot more than what I'm saying, because it's not going to be anything if you say you opt out after October, but heck of a way to learn futures. Okay. All right, so it's about 16 minutes after. Why don't we go to a live market and look at things? Let's start with E-mini, Jonathan. If you will, why don't you draw where we opened the week at? Just draw a line for the week.
All right, week open 53.64. Let's go to daily.
Put it on a daily, if you don't mind.
53.64.
64. And I put my days pivot in there, 55.75. So the market's right here. I thought it would be interesting if we got this high. We did, and actually went up to 86 at one point. But now we're going into the final stages of the day. The market is struggling right here. Wouldn't surprise me to see it go either way, but the point is you got the numbers, 55.75. Next Tuesday, we start the second half of the month. I say next Tuesday, that's when it becomes trade day. It appears that the market itself is back to where we started. So I guess for those people who were on vacation the first 2 weeks and coming in here today, you can say, well, hey, it's like making a transition from July. Okay. Any questions about those two numbers I put up there to define the current trend? All right, the next market I'd like to look at is NVIDIA. We're long NVIDIA, and we're getting close to taking half our profit down. Maybe it'll happen by the end of the day. The other half will go for a little bit more, but NVIDIA looks good. Jonathan, put where NVIDIA opened this month at.
Monthly open is at 117.53.
So it's bullish from where it opened, and that's a pretty good opening. If you look at today, today's open was what, Jonathan, today? Let me give it to you if you need it.
Today's open was at 121.87.
Yeah, so it's moved up about $3, okay? So that's pretty interesting. That's what you're looking at. It's breaking out and we're long, okay? That's NVIDIA. Put Berkshire in there. Berkshire was one of our blueprint stocks in our TNT, we said, where did we say we'd go long Berkshire?
441.11, I believe.
Draw that line, please. That blueprint has a way of paying, doesn't it? Look at that, 444 going higher. Okay, I think it could get up that 449 pretty easily. Not bad. Yeah, the blueprint went out when, Jonathan, last night?
Yes.
Timely distribution of it. All right, that's Berkshire. Let's look at XLK. I'm fascinated by this stock. Will you draw the week open?
Week open 206.27.
Now, if you remember, it was one of my top 10. I said if it got above, what was it, 204, get long. That was resistance. It was trading near the lows when we started the week. And it took off. That's what I like about these numbers I give people on the top 10. That's pretty good work, really, when you look at XLK. All right, the last one I want to look at is the QQQ. Let's put the month open in there for the QQQ.
Month open 471.76.
So today we finally got above that. Okay. And go and slap the week open on there too. Show you where we were when we started the week.
The week open was 451.39, and your number from Sunday night to get above was 455.55. I'd say probably around there or so.
Another hit on the top 10 tickers.
Yep.
And if you traded with me live this week, you know, we went long the QQQ. Those are the four stocks that I wanted to look at. We start the second half of the month, so Monday's the key date, obviously. But pay attention to the pivot I use. And we'll see how the day, you know, I guess finishes out. Anybody got any questions about anything? Any questions? We have a recording, and I think the easiest way to get us off of YouTube, right?
Yeah, when we're live on YouTube, it's pretty seamless. As soon as we shut down the YouTube stream, it's available there in a minute or two. That is the best way to get the recording. When you get
Brian asked me about silver, and it's going to have a catch-up move. This gold stays up here, but looks good. Let's look at gold before we do. Got to look at gold. Boy, that looks good. Look at that, folks. Last night it was 24.92 and all the way up to this morning 25.43. I bought gold futures last night, put a very tight stop on it, got stopped out. I don't know what I was thinking. I should put a realistic stop on it. That'd been a heck of a day to have gold, okay? Yeah, David, I think in the summer, we're gonna have to put a little latitude on the price we give you on the weekend side hustle because some people got filled, others didn't. But but we'll give you a little range there, okay? I like to do it specific prices. You have no problem during 9 months out of the year, but I did notice yesterday it was tough. I got filled in about an hour after that. Yeah, Scott, if you got more than 25,000 account, then you got enough money in there to do as many day trades as you want. John, the reason I'm getting out of that gold position, I'll reestablish another one next week. I've used up 3 days of my time, and it's an option. Now, if you're just buying the stock, I'd say buy it. But we're talking about an option here, John. You got it. It's like a carton of milk. The closer you get to expiration, the easier it is to have to throw it away. And so with options, that 72-hour rule is in play, not for a stock, okay? Obviously. What about TLT? We don't have TLT, do we, Jonathan?
We do not.
No, we took profit last time we had one, Ben. Margin. Needs to be margin. And if you trade more than 3, then you're gonna become a pattern day trader, and then you should be fine. Somebody calling again, telling you want to do more than one day trade, you got more than 25 in there. Is there any issues? That's why you asked the question. There shouldn't be any issues. Right, TLT is not triggered yet on the blueprint.
TLT was a T-Buzz trade, booked 12% on that. Let's see the date.
Say what now?
TLT was a T-Buzz trade, booked 12% on August the 14th.
We made 12%?
Right.
Oh, okay.
So if you got a trade and you can't, maybe you missed an alert, go check your trade sheet.
That's where that 72-hour rule is a good rule to have. JD wants to know where you find the monthly blueprint.
Monthly blueprint is a TNT, T-Buzz Talk and Trade report we issue every month around the 8th or so. Depends on what big news items we have. This week was CPI, PPI, so we waited till after those to issue it. JD, in the TNT program, I posted it last night in the channel. It's also posted to the resources page from within the members area for TNT.
Let me make sure everybody understands my current thinking. I'm in cash. I'm gonna do short-term trading for the rest of August. Once we go to September and get 3 days under our belt, in other words, my 3-day algorithm comes into play, then I'm gonna start positioning myself for an end-of-year run. Type that in there where I can say it one time and people can read it, Jonathan, what I just said. I'm gonna wait 3 days into September, and stocks that set up for me will be positioned for end of year run. That's the way I do the end of the year. And it starts at Labor Day. Makes me reevaluate everything I've done and try to improve upon things, okay? And that's what I'm gonna do with my retirement accounts, what I'm gonna do with anything after 3 days in September. And that's why right now I'm in short-term trading. I'm trading futures a lot, and I'm teaching futures. So let's wrap up, Jonathan. Put the future sign up in there where they can see it. And that's the deal of the century right there. Learn all that stuff. If you like to educate yourself, if you like to have higher odds when you trade, you ought to do that. Okay. So, Jonathan, I don't have anything else. Anybody else got any other questions at the weekly wrap up? I try to answer questions you might have and guide you. Henry, we sold it at 84, got out at 79, 5 cents on a 17 or 16-cent risk. Not a bad trade. Thanks, Sam. All right, let's see how this baby closed. 75 is important not only today and important as we get into Sunday and next week. Be there Sunday night if you get a chance. I'll lay out the plan of the week. Jonathan, you got anything you want to say?
Yeah, Pete was asking where on the YouTube channel to find the recording. There's a tab that says live. Here, let me do this. Here's the channel. There's a tab here that says live. Of course, we're live right now, but once we finish up on the live tab, you can find the recording right there, top left. Other than that, Tom, thanks for a good week, and we'll see you Sunday night.
Yeah, and I think one thing to be sure of, we've had a great year, and we've had a lot of people join us lately. Have some patience. I only trade, I'll just tell everybody this, I will only trade if I believe the odds are in our favor. This is a tough game, and I want to educate you where you can see what I'm talking about. It's not like you just generate trade after trade. Now, once we hit higher volume months, October, November, December, there is just about every day you got all the opportunities you put your hands around. But right now, you got to be very particular. That's why our track record is off the charts when you look at it from a big picture standpoint. That's why customers stay with me a long time. Patience does pay, and there's a lot of time hands off the mouse while we're analyzing and looking at things. I do not like to put trades out there unless there's a reason and it fits into more than what's happening that day I put the trade out there. The trade I put on NVIDIA is that NVIDIA is very strong, going higher. The trade I put on the QQQ that I spreaded, my timing might be off a little bit. We'll see. We got another 2 days to find that one, figure that one out. So, Jonathan, that's all I got. Everybody have a good night, good day. Get joined for the futures. See everybody Sunday night. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.